G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from Marty's Garden. Look, I've got a really cool video for you today if you're into avocados or you want to learn more about avocado trees. Well, I'm going to provide some knowledge here for you because I've been doing it for a long time, and it was a unit that I studied when I was doing agricultural business, and I did manage a small avocado farm for quite some time and had some pretty good success there. But ever since then I've just been growing my own trees off and on in containers and in the ground, and this one here has been in the ground for about 3 years now. It's about a 4-year-old tree, I'd say, straight from graft, and it's a Wirtz semi-dwarf tree. So what that means is generally it's been grafted on to a rootstock that doesn't get too big. Now, I'm more for actually having big root systems and smaller trees because you can actually cut these back, but because I'm in a small space here, very difficult to do, and I don't want the roots going in underneath the house and things like that and creating problems and havocs for my next door neighbour or even here while I rent. So I chose the semi-dwarf species. Now, if you're going for a dwarf species that grows in a pot, they grow okay, but don't expect to get huge harvests. It's more of a fun thing to do, and over time you might decide to plant it out somewhere in the ground. Now, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about the type of soil that it grows in, because that can be a real problem, right? You've really got to stay away from heavy clay soils. It just can't survive in that, hasn't got enough drainage, and it gets attacked by a nematode called Phytophthora, and it will attack the root zone and the plant will die back, and then you'll get little brown tips and sort of like a rusty sort of like brownish off where it goes black and almost looks burnt. Fruits fall off, flowers fall off, and you don't get the production, and eventually it will just kill the tree outright. So what I recommend that you do, if you're going for that type of tree and you've got a clay area, grow in a really big pot or a big raised bed, at least around about 1 metre deep with really good drainage. Remember, they're a rainforest tree and they like to have free draining soil. They're also quite heavy feeders, so you've got to feed them quite often. I feed this guy compost, worm castings, bit of worm tea every now and again. Occasionally I'll throw a bit of chook pellet on there if I've got some lying around sort of in between, around about twice a year. But I find it grows really, really well now in this garden because I've built up this sandy soil. Now, sandy soil is very good for avocados because it drains away and you get no problems with Phytophthora. The only thing is you've got to feed it a lot more because they have a surface root. So the surface feeders are where it gets all its food from. They also have a big long tap root that they feed from the surface, being an avocado tree from the rainforest. And they do fruit quite well when they get set up. So generally after about your second year, you want to pull off the fruits in the first year, and then the second year after you've got them, you can start taking the fruits. If you pull off the fruits earlier, the tree's going to do much better and will be more productive going into the season. Now, this tree here is in full flower at the moment. It's just amazing. It's probably flowered a little bit early because I'm not seeing a lot of bees out, but my little native bees are coming out at the moment, so hopefully they'll do the job. Some ants and different insects will crawl over it and fertilize it. Well, not fertilize it, but get that little nodule going, and the male and female touching together, and then it'll become pollinated and we'll get fruit. So what I'll do is we'll duck down and I'll show you some of the fruits that I've got on there because I'm not far off harvesting. And I'll show you when to know to harvest, right? So let's go. It's down there underneath the leaves. So check this out, guys. I got this one off the tree just a second ago. You see, what happened was it's ready to go, right? And so it just popped off when I grabbed it and pulled on it. I was going to actually show you guys what it looked like. But we've got another one here, quite a good size, about the same size. And it's starting to brown off around the edges of the trunk. So what I'll do is, I've just snapped a bit off there, lost that bit. I'll bring it in closer so you can have a better look and show you what's going on so you know what to see and when to harvest. So if we can get this up here, you can see that there, right? And so the brown marks are just from it bumping on the tree. It's not from pests or anything like that. And then there's it starts going browning off. Now there's one little bit of scale there, first one I found. So it's browning off around the actual edges here of the stem. And once it starts browning off and you're getting a bit of yellowing along the top and on the fruit, you know that it's full of really good omega-3s and fats and oils, and it's pretty much nearly ready to go. Now, I'm not going to pick this off until I've eaten the other one, for the fact is, this baby is going to be my first ever avocado from this tree, my first harvest. How cool is that? Now this one is my favourite. Look at this beauty. It's much bigger, it's rounder. Look, it's almost like nearly twice the size. So stoked to actually have that. And look, it's a bit of yellowing at the top of the fruit there, and it's not browning off yet, but there's some yellowing of the stem. So it's not too far off. You can see some yellowing around the actual side of the fruit. So yeah, I reckon that'll be fruit number 3 to come off the tree. If you're just going to do one thing, remember to mulch really well. Now, not too thick, because when it rains, you want the water to penetrate through. You don't want a dry patch underneath. So you're better off throwing consistently a little bit more on at a time. And once it starts getting sort of all brown and bendy and humusy, the tree will start feeding off it, take the minerals and different things. And then you'll get the worms and all the different creatures that live in the soil web. And the tree will connect to that and the fungi and things down below. And then you won't have to feed it as much. And it'll be a very, very happy, productive tree for many years to come. Just remember to plant your tree in a full sun location. That way, it'll photosynthesize and give you lots of fruit. It also needs to be protected away from strong winds and cool breezes and frosts, because it is a tropical tree, and it will grow in temperate areas if you've got a nice spot for it away from frosts and it gets some really good summer heat. I'm growing here in the subtropics, right on the edge of temperate and subtropical, so I'm pushing the limits, but I know they do grow it further south from me, and they grow it in parts of New Zealand either. So have a good go at it. When you go to the nursery or you look it up online, check out the best tree for you and your zoning, and do a little bit of research on the type of tree that you would like to grow. You can have an A and B species, and both of these will flower at different times, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and that'll help with flowering onset, but it's not essential. I just have the one here, and I just love my little Wirtz tree. Who knows, there may be another A and B somewhere off in the distance, not too far from here, but I highly doubt it, and I'm still getting plenty of fruit. Anyway, have a great day. If you've got any questions, please leave them down below. Happy gardening, and we'll see you at the next video real soon. You know, we talk about all types of small space and organic gardening, worm farming and stuff here. Bye for now.